Hello learners, I am back with the another question called increasing triplet subsequence. So let's see what the question says. The question says given an integer array okay given an integer array nums return true if there exists a triplet of indices I, j, k such that I less than j less than k. Okay, nums I less than nums j, nums I less than nums j less than nums k. If do not contains or exist, return false. Okay, so let's see. In this, we have this I nums I at the first place only, or every place basically, right? Nums I, nums j, nums k. Nums I is less than nums j and less than nums k. Okay. Here it cannot be possible, so we return false. Here we have this nums I less than nums j less than nums k over here. Okay, because 0 is less than 4 and 4 is less than 6. Okay, so how we can do it is the problem. So very first approach will be our brute force approach will be like we can use a for loop, nested for loop, and like suppose 0 to I is equals to 0 to nums dot length, and then we can go into nested for loop for j and up to nums dot length, and this also we can go to the for k we can go to 0 to nums. Okay, how here we can do from I, and here we can do from j to nums dot length. Okay, and in this we can see if this condition is true, then return true. Otherwise, when we'll complete the loops, we will return false. But this thing will lead to order of n cube. Okay, so how we can decrease the time complexity? Okay, so the better way I can think of is to use arrays for taking, because if we are here, suppose, okay, let's rewrite it. 2 comma 1 comma 5 comma 4 comma 0 comma 4 comma 6. So if suppose I am here, I want that number in left should be minimum and number from right is maximum from this number. So what we can do is we can make array called, let's name it minimum left, because we want minimum to the left, and maximum to right because we want maximum from right side. Okay, so let's try this array making thing. This will be 2 only. Now we want minimum including this. Suppose we are here and minimum from 1 and 2 is 1, and if we come to here, minimum of 5 and 1 is 1, minimum of 1 and 0 is 0. Then we iterate further, minimum from 0 and 4 is 0, of course, and minimum of 0 and 6 is 0. Okay, let's see the maximum, right? This is 6 only. If we move further, 4, and if we compare 4 and 6, maximum is 6 If we compare 6 and 0, maximum is 6. If we compare 6 and 5, if we compare 6 and 5, we'll get maximum 6. If we compare 6 and 1, again we'll get 6. If we'll compare 2 and 6, we'll again get 6. Okay. So now we'll iterate to the array, and let's see. Suppose you are on 2, so we'll see that if minimum length I is less than nums. Okay, I should write this. If minimum left of I is less than nums of I, and maximum of right of I is greater than nums of I. If it's true, then return true. Otherwise, return true. Okay. Okay, so let's see. If 2 is less than 2, which is not true. Okay, so we cannot return true over here. Now we'll see for nums I is equals to 1. Here nums minimum length of I is not less than nums I, so we can also we'll move further and we'll check for 5. Minimum size is less than 5, and maximum R is less than uh, less than this, so we can return true. Okay, so we can do this by this particular formula, but here the time complexity is order of n, time complexity, and space complexity is order of n, like 2n, because we have taken two arrays of n length. Okay, of n length, but we have suggested to do this in order of one space in question. So how we can do this in order of one space? Okay, let's see how we can do this. If we take this array one more time, like the array says 2, 1, 5, 0, 4, 6. If we'll take it again, so what we can take variables. Okay, let's take a variable called nums1, num2, and num3. Okay, here we'll make sure that num1 should be less than num2, and it should be less than num3. Okay, if this happened, we return true. We'll return true, and if not, we'll return false. Okay, so what's the intuition behind this? Okay, initially we will initialize it from maximum numbers. Okay, and we will see, like we'll make a for loop. Let's say we'll make a for loop I is equals to 0, I less than nums dot length I plus plus, and we'll go for num3 is equals to nums I. Okay, here basically what we want that a num3 should be greater from num1 and num2. Okay, and we want num1 to be the smallest. So what we'll do is, first we'll check for num1 that if num3 is less than or equal to num1, okay, then num1 should be should be get the value of num3. Okay, very fine. And if this is not the case, then after this only, because we want things happen for num1 first. Okay, we'll see that if num3 is less than equal to num2, then num2 gets the value of num3. Okay, and if these conditions are not like satisfied, then it means that we are in the position of this thing, which means we have a triplet and we can return true. Okay, so here we will return true. Okay, and if this doesn't happen in this loop, we can return simply false. Okay, so let's see this with this num array, with this nums array. Okay, so let's say right now our, okay, let's say we have I is equals to 2, num size is equals to 2, and these are maximum integers. Okay, and I have denoted it with infinity. Okay, we have 2. Okay, so we'll see that num size is greater than this 2, which is wrong. Nums1 should be less than, so we will uh, we will make it value to 2. Okay, now we have 1 over here. Nums3 is equals to 1 now, because we iterate into 2, like 0 1 2 3 4 5 as index values. Now we'll see again nums I, like this thing, that nums3 should be less than, if nums3 is less than, which is not we want obviously, so we will again change its value to 1. Okay, very fine. Now we'll go to second value, that is 5 over here. Now we'll see for nums1 it is right, but for nums2 is greater than nums3, which is not right. We, okay, this condition is satisfied right now. Nums3 is less than nums2, so we'll change this value of nums2, and now nums3 will be 0. Nums3 will be 0, and okay, now we'll see for nums1. Num1 is greater than 0, which again we don't want. So if this happens, then what we do? We change the value. Okay, and now we have iterated further, and nums3 is equals to 4 now. And we'll check again that if nums1 is less than, okay, it's less than, it's right. Nums2 is less than, no, it is not, it's wrong. Then okay, we have changed. Then okay, now we'll move further and we'll check for 6. And if we check for 6, we see that nums I is less than num3, which is perfectly fine. That's why we haven't gone into this if condition. We have not gone to this if condition. Then we check for num2. Num2 is also less than. Okay, very good. We don't have to go into this else if condition. So we go to the else condition and return true. So for this we have returned true and we have a triplet. Okay. So that's it. Okay. So let's see the code. So here I have pasted code for you guys to see what I have done. I have taken maximum values over nums1 and nums2. Then I have done exactly that only which I have told you in return. Okay, we have always taken nums3 or nums value in nums3 and checked if nums3 is less than or equal to, we'll change the value of nums1, and if it's not the case, then we'll check for nums2, and if nums3 is less than equal to nums2, we'll change the value of num2, and if these conditions are not satisfied, this means that we have triplet and we can return true. Okay, and if this is not the case, then in last we'll return false. Okay, so that's it about this problem solution. And okay, order of n is its time complexity, and we have done in order of one space. Because we have taken variables, we have taken three variables, and order of three is order of one only. So that's it about this. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Be happy, be safe, and keep coding.